spiked out. I could trip a referee. Tell by my attitude that I'm most definitely from.
All right, everybody, we're back. It's This Week in Startups, episode number 39, Twist, the hashtag of the show. If you're watching live, pound TWIST. If you're watching live on Ustream.tv, which raised $75 million this week. Did you see that?
I saw that.
Masa-san.
You're throwing the coin down, throwing down the yen.
Whoa. Masa does not play around. We love SoftBank, and congratulations. We love Ustream, and congratulations to those guys. They've been crushing it. And holy cow, a $75 million investment round, and going into China big time. Streaming video is for real, clearly for real. And we had a big week.
Yeah.
We made a trip, first trip. This is the first trip since I had the kid?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
It is.
I took a day trip up for the Crunchies.
Yep.
But we went to Boulder.
Right.
Which is a nice community for the Open Angel Forum. You guys remember, fans of the show, that you might remember there was this Keiretsu Forum thing, and there was a gun involved, and there was an ultimatum. We gave them an ultimatum. Listen, you guys need to stop charging startups to present. And that went pretty well, some press for it. And we told them, in a very reasonable way, the Keiretsu Forum, which was an angel investing forum, stop charging startups to pitch, no pay to pitch. And we were totally reasonable. We said very simply, stop charging and put an apology on your website, which I thought was pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Or not. I mean, I don't know how I would take it if somebody just said it. Can you please put an apology on your website? But anyway, we backed it up. We said if they don't do it right, we'll do it. We did Open Angel Forum last month in Los Angeles, and then, wow, Wednesday night, we had Boulder launch the Open Angel Forum, openangelforum.com. Everybody knows what openangelforum.com is. It's essentially 15, 20 angel investors of note who've made 3 or 4 investments, and they will hear pitches from 5 companies. Over 100 applied in LA, over 100 applied in Boulder, 5 presented. The ones that were in the LA event, I think I'm going to invest in 2 of them. I can't announce it yet, but you can probably do the math. And now in Boulder, I may invest in one of those companies. It's 3 out of the 10 I think I'm going to wind up investing in. I don't have that much money to invest in all these things. I need to start a venture capital firm. It's problematic because I wanted to do 10 deals a year, and we did 3 or 4 in the first month. So we got a problem, a good problem, I guess. But Open Angel Forum coming to other cities. We're so lucky to have it in Boulder with David Cohen, who runs Techstars. Techstars is like an incubator program. You should totally check that out. If you're an entrepreneur, that's a great way to start your career off. Techstars.com. And Brad Feld, who is a great venture capitalist. He's B-Feld on Twitter, and David is David Cohen on Twitter. And Brad Feld's dad is S-Feld.
Yes.
So his dad's on Twitter, and he doesn't understand it. It was pretty funny. Anyway, we have a video. Somebody made a video of it, and they did a very good job with it. And I'm gonna play that in a second. But you know who else is doing a good job? You do.
I wonder if he does.
Do you know?
No,
Scott?
On what front?
But don't worry about it. The person who's doing a great job is Bing. Microsoft's Bing, of course, sponsoring the show, sponsoring the Perfect Pitch Contest. You must submit your pitch for Jason Shark Tank by February 16th. You will be chosen to pitch between January 22nd and February 19th. That means any of these shows, any of the previous shows between that period. Winner's going to get a half day of free PR consulting from the Seattle-based ad agency Creature. And that's probably worth about 10 G's, 10 large, 1 full high society, 1 entry into the World Series of Poker main event. For those of you who count things in the same denomination I do.
It's a lot of mochas in my world.
In Tyler's world, it's a lot of mochas. In my world, it's 1 entry into the World Series of Poker.
Right.
How many mochas is that? 2,000 mochas.
Yeah.
It's either 2,000 mochas or 1 entry into the World Series of Poker. And yeah, Tyler and I and Lon will pick the winner, and then we'll announce that on February 26th. Bing has got you covered. They are going to be giving cash back on Valentine's Day. And when you order from their top merchants, you'll get 25% back from Teleflora, 30% back from ProFlowers, 25% back from 1-800-Flowers. You got to send your girl, your mom, your grandma. You got to send flowers, and you get cash back when you do that through Bing, and that's pretty cool. Also, search for Super Bowl 44 for stats this Sunday. It's the Super Duper Bowl, and they launched this Twitter Maps, which is pretty cool. I pulled it up on my screen. You can do a search and then see where those things are coming from. So I just did a search for Pound Twist, and there are some people who used it in the last couple of days, and I can go click around and see who is tweeting what about Twist. Pretty cool feature. Bing constantly innovating and very innovatively sponsoring This Week in Startups. So let's see the video from Open Angel Forum. We'll just run the first minute or so of it. Any second now. Here we go. They made a little video.
Oh, cool.
Tonight was great. We had 6 great companies present. All of them were worthy of angel investment. In fact, most of them had raised some money already and were looking to finish their rounds. They presented for 7 minutes. They took questions for 7 minutes. It went very efficiently. And the feedback was that it was a well-paced event with a great crowd. We're not trying to replace other events like Open Coffee or the Tech Meetup. Those are great events for networking. This is a very, very micro event, very strategic in nature. But the VCs and the angel investors enjoyed it, and they said, really, they didn't want anything changed, with the exception of they would like to have the entrepreneurs in the room for the other entrepreneurs' presentations.
The running joke with the Open Angel Forum is every entrepreneur has to take a sip of beer during the presentation. It's a much more laid-back, casual environment to present your company in. You know, we're being filtered and the angels are being filtered, and we're trying to create a higher percentage of matches. So instead of doing one-offs, angels get to come out and hear 5 quality companies pitch, and at the same time we get to present to 15 angels who are actually doing deal flow. So it's just a much more efficient process.
Serving a dual role today. I am an angel investor, and I'm also a presenter to raise angel money. You know, the venture community has obviously gone through a rough time in the last couple of years, and so you have to be frugal. You have to, you know, really stay focused on what you're trying to accomplish, and angels are a great bridge to get you to a place where you can actually do some more aggressive and larger financing. But we're actively raising money, and we are building a product, a really cool solar panel that's really efficient and really cheap.
There is definitely a market need for a legitimate angel forum. The other forums out there were not really filled with angel investors, mostly service providers or other entrepreneurs, and people were paying to pitch to a room full of 100 people with maybe 2 or 3 possible investors, or somebody who had invested in 1999 or something. It wasn't really too legitimate, so we don't charge. The only people who pay are the service providers, lawyers, accountants, PR firms, who can easily pay because startups and VC firms are their clients, and they underwrite the event.
I particularly enjoyed it because these are people who are serious, who recognize the business opportunity, and who represent a major opportunity for me as someone seeking investment.
This is also just one of numerous different channels that entrepreneurs have to try to get their companies funded in an early stage.
So what we're trying to do here is just skim the cream. The top 5% of the startups. So we had 5 people out of 100%, or 6 people out of 100% who applied, and then the top angel investors. So we probably turned away more angel investors or, wannabe angel investors than we actually had at the event. We only want to have 20 people max in the audience.
We might raise some capital. We might raise an angel round and just get any one of the 15 angels that are here tonight involved in our company will definitely be a benefit. It's just not the capital, it's also the experience and the knowledge that the angels can bring, especially this select group of people.
I would say, frankly, that this was the best opportunity that I have had so far to raise money for my company, by far. Of all the things I could possibly have done, and I've been venture-backed before, but for where we are and what we're doing, this was the event.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you to Colorado TV for taking the time to film that little vignette. Video is very powerful, and gosh, why didn't we think of that? We should have done that for LA. Any thoughts on the...
I think we did. We just wanted to keep it a little more...
intimate.
Yeah.
I guess so.
But he did a great job because he stood far back outside of the room.
Right.
Shooting through the glass and everything, so it wasn't like intrusive.
So what was your takeaway from Boulder, Tyler?
Awesome Techstars program out there, and the community out there is really strong. So it has this very kind of teamwork, positive energy. Yeah. Very efficient because you can walk everywhere from one company
whole
to the
strip
other.
Of startups.
And they have so many events. It's like you made a pun during the Tech meetup. It's like there's more events than startups out there.
It did feel like that, and what a community, and David Cohen doing a great job there with Techstars.
Yeah.
And just the excitement level in Boulder is amazing, and I was really happy. And it's almost as if you can see a vision starting to gel, I think. We saw a problem in the market, and really this is a good lesson for everybody who's a startup. You see a problem in the market, it pisses you off, you think about it, you rap out about it, you come out with a better solution, and you test it in the market. We've tested it in 2 cities. In both cities, we sold a number of tickets. I think we had $3,000 in revenue from service providers in LA and $6,000 maybe in Boulder. So the 2 events made $9,000 total, and they cost $3,000 or $4,000 to do. So it's breaking even. It's not a money-making opportunity for me or anybody involved. But we proved the point that you can run one of these things efficiently at a high-quality level without charging the startups. Mission accomplished. And I have a really great idea when we get to 10 cities. I was just thinking about, because we have 10 cities, you realize, quarterly.
Yep.
That would be 40 events.
Yeah, it's like one a week.
5 at each.
Yeah.
Is 200 companies.
Yep.
If we charge each of those companies $3,000 each, that's 600 grand we could make.
Awesome.
This is really what entrepreneurship is about. No, we're not going to charge the companies. But you can see how evil people, that's what happens. They're just like, oh my God, wait a second. We've got this power. We can go screw with people. Laughing in the background is my good friend Scott Morrow. Scott Morrow is the CEO of Curate Media, formerly known only as ThisNext, now known as ThisNext, and also Style Hive, right?
Yes.
There's like 5 style companies.
There's so many. Oh, there's so many.
Everything.
Yeah.
Style this, Style Blender, Style Fender.
We bought the
Style
good
Hive.
one. Yeah.
You bought the good one, Style Hive. I know ThisNext very well because Gordon Gould, my good friend, was the founder, and I was on the board for a bit. And you guys had a great week this past week.
We did.
Raised some money and made a big acquisition of Style Hive. How's it been? I see you got a ton of press for everything.
We got great press, and I think it's a reflection that social shopping is hot right now. Back in 2006, Hearst bought Caboodle.
Yep.
And if you'll recall, there were 4 original companies that kind of were leading social shopping: Caboodle, ThisNext, Style Hive, and Style Feeder.
Right.
So Hearst bought Caboodle back in 06. 2 weeks ago, Time bought Style Feeder. Again, a second validation in the market. And then we've consolidated the other remaining player, which is Style Hive. And there are a lot of smaller players, but in terms of companies of note and scale, we're now the largest social shopping player that's remaining.
And what does that exactly mean for somebody who has never heard the term social shopping? I mean, when you go shopping with your friends, is that social shopping, or does this mean something else?
Well, I have to tell a little bit of a story because it is a great anecdote. Bob Tedeschi, writer at the New York Times, he wrote a debut article back in 2006 on ThisNext. And he coined the phrase social shopping. So we actually birthed the category when we launched ThisNext. And he said it's kind of social because there's social media tools and you can buy things, hence social shopping.
Right.
So it's been an interesting kind of evolution that the market has just taken hold of that. And now
it's a category.
Yeah, it's a category. And we've kind of pioneered it, and I think we've evolved it. To your question, I think there is a misconception that you literally are with a friend on the site, tag teaming, looking for products and shopping.
Right.
That's not the concept. It's social in the sense that we have social media tools that are integrated in our platform, and we make it easy for people to discover products through your social graph or through a feed of brands that we showcase on the site. And then, in essence, you can shopcast or put out those pics that you find on your blog, on your MySpace page, on your Facebook. You can Twitter about it. It's social in nature. It's not that you're arm in arm with someone.
So users come on the site, they pick what products they like.
Yep.
You friend a bunch of people like Facebook, and all of a sudden you've got a stream of products coming from people who are like-minded.
Exactly.
And it's been going well. And we'll talk about more about the acquisition and what Curate Media means going forward. But it's time for a segment that most people consider their favorite part of the show. In fact, it could be its own show. It's the segment known as Ask Jason. And that's a little graphic. And the phone is ringing. And when I answer the phone, I'm pressing the speaker button. Okay. This caller is calling from 01145. Which I know as the area code of Hoboken, New Jersey. Annabelle?
Nope.
You're calling from Hoboken, 01145?
No, I'm actually in Los Angeles.
Oh, I thought you were from Denmark.
Nope, Los Angeles.
Oh, sorry. that would be Jason reading things wrong. You're calling from the 323, which is Los Angeles.
Yes.
Our next call is from 01145. For those of you who want to Google what that is, it's not actually Hoboken.
Or you can bing it.
Or you can bang it. Bada bang it. Thank you, Tyler. That was a good one. So, Denny.
Yes.
You are calling in to ask Jason. You've been listening to the show for a while, or you're new to the show?
I started listening with Gary Vaynerchuk, and I've been catching up ever since. Currently on episode 14.
Wow, working backwards to 14, you're in the kill zone. A solid weekend this weekend, you could be down into the single digits. I suggest you get your focus together and get into the single digits, and then you'll be and I guess Gary V did bring a lot of people, introduce them to the show, so he was a great guest to have on. Tell me, what is your question for Scott and myself? You have two amazing CEOs here, and one, well, you have Tyler, who's got some wonderful insights.
Okay, so let me give you a little
Tyler's
bit of
not a
background
CEO,
first.
just for the record. He's a CEO advisor.
Okay. So I'm working on a service that allows users to post requests for information and resources on consumer products, and then other users of the site would come in and they share that information or knowledge, whatever resources they have, and they post that to the original requester. The original idea was to keep everything free and focus on community rewards, such as like a point system. However, recently I've been thinking about allowing the user who requests information to also offer money as a reward to whoever user submits the best set of resources. Perhaps something similar to how Mahalo dollars work.
Yeah.
So my question is, what is the good and the bad of bringing, reward money or just any kind of money in general to like a consumer-to-consumer service like I have built?
Yes. Okay, this is a great question. Scott and I have had many debates about this over the years, healthy debates. And what I would say is different people are motivated by different things. But there are some themes that run across almost all people universally. So let's talk about those universal themes. People like to do things that are fun. Fun is a driver. So people play Bejeweled. I don't know if you guys play Bejeweled. Sometimes you'll see on my Facebook page I play Bejeweled 2 on my iPhone. It's ridiculously addicting. So whenever I've got a spare moment, sometimes I'm sitting there with my baby asleep on my shoulder, and I'm sitting there like I'm trapped because this is what happens when you have a kid. You put the kid down on your shoulder, they fall asleep. You're so paranoid about getting up. You're basically like, I'm staying here. So then I just got my iPhone. I'm playing Bejeweled. Anyway, the fun of it makes it rewarding. However, there is also recognition in that you get badges and you get to reach different levels. There is also competition because you get to see how you do versus other players in Bejeweled 2, which is a crazy game. So that's the recognition, affiliation, compensation. These are all different drivers. In Bejeweled, there is no compensation, but still people are addicted to it. In Call of Duty, there's no compensation. People are addicted to it. However, in skee-ball, you ever play skee-ball? Denny, when you were a kid? You get all those tickets, right? There's some things. Poker, there's lots of compensation if you win. Gambling, compensation if you win. Doing your job, compensation if you win. But money tends to be a low driver. Virtual currency is something new. Virtual currency combines part of the desire to get money, and money is a very weird driver for people. It's very double-edged. People will do crazy things for money, as we've seen in today's news on Tech Meme. I'll get into it later during the news program. People will do crazy things for money, but people also will not make money their life's work in general. They'll want to work at a job, maybe not for max money, but for max pleasure and enjoyment and fun and interest. But virtual currency taps into the competitiveness and the recognition and completion drivers. That's why Zynga, Mark Pincus's company, is crushing it. And that's why World of Warcraft is crushing, because they're making money by selling virtual currency. So virtual currency is a whole new category, and it combines multiple drivers. You get the recognition, the accomplishment, and you get some compensation in there. So I like having multiple drivers in a system, and this way different people can be motivated by different ones, like a leaderboard for competition and recognition, other people for cashing out their Mahalo dollars. There are people inside Mahalo who make 100 Mahalo dollars, 200 Mahalo dollars a month and can cash them out. And instead they ask questions of high value because they prefer the joy of giving the money away. And that's another drive of people, altruism. Altruism?
Altruism, yeah.
Altruism, yeah.
You said it. You got it.
I said it. I got it right. So anyway, there's multiple drivers. Without knowing your exact thing, I suggest having a blended approach, Scott. ThisNext obviously has recognition and affiliation. It's a social network.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with most of what you said. At ThisNext and now at Curate Media, we do crowdsource content. So UGC and wisdom of the crowds, so to speak, is an important part of our business model. We have not made economic reward a primary feature for creating community and drawing incentives around that. Rather, status, recognition really are the two core components that we focus on when we build tools and features for our community. Now, I will say this, and it ties into what you were saying about virtual currency. If you can make your status, credible and worth something, then it actually connotes value for the person who's getting that status. So, for example, if I'm a community member and you bestow upon me the fact that I'm the #1 recommender or tastemaker in New York for fashion, and you allow me, because you're credible, to put that distinction on my blog or any of my social media,
right,
that's worth something.
Sure.
I mean, if I'm an independent consultant and I have a business on the side and it happens to be something around fashion, and I have a third party who's credible in the marketplace saying, hey, I have nothing vested in your gain, but I'm going to bestow upon you this distinction that you're #1 in fashion in New York City, that's credible, and that actually has value. So
that giving of credibility is a form of recognition, I guess.
Yeah.
And you're anointing people, which
Absolutely.
is very powerful.
Absolutely.
And that also mixes up with affiliation. They're
Absolutely.
affiliated with other experts.
Absolutely.
So I knew for Weblogs Inc., just being a blogger on Engadget for some people was more important than the check. They didn't care about getting $10 a post. They cared about being an Engadget blogger. They cared about going to CS. That was fun. Yeah.
Right.
That being said, money is a big driver. And if used correctly, everybody's got to eat, right? Everybody needs to get a taste. People have bills to pay. It's good when you can blend them. When we did Weblogs Inc., people would criticize us for paying bloggers back in 2005, 2006. Oh my God, you're paying bloggers. You're going to ruin blogging. It had the opposite effect because we were paying people enough to live off of so that they could spend more time doing what they loved. So there is a balance. You don't want to create a system where people get so greedy that they forget about why they're there, and it just draws the people who want to game the system. That's why on Mahalo, we make it $150 to cash out for real cash. Because we don't want people who are there to make a quick buck. Anybody who's there to game the system, we're going to find out they're gaming the system long before they hit that $150 cash out. We will let people cash out in future versions of Mahalo for like a beach towel or a mug for $10 Mahalo dollars or something. But then they're gaming to get, swag, and it's not that big of a deal. Look at what happened with real estate and the mortgage crisis. This was Wall Street at its worst, gaming the system for money and greed, and brokers doing the same thing, and even in some cases, individuals living well above their means, gaming the system for monetary reward. So you got to be very careful. Does that help?
Yes, absolutely. It's extremely valuable information. Okay.
And if you want really good examples of virtual currency, you obviously want to spend some time with Zynga and World of Warcraft. And if you have a friend who is Korean, ask them to show you SciWorld. And SciWorld, people spend a lot of money buying coins to put music on their site, like you would pay for a ringtone. So micropayments, everybody thought that wasn't going to work. It hasn't essentially worked, but virtual currency has. So it's sort of like micropayments. If you type in micropayments in Google and Bing, if you Bing micropayments, you probably find some interesting things. And look actually for virtual currency and then do a Bing video search because it's incredible. All right. Thank you for calling in, Denny.
All right. Yes, thank you
When
very
you went
much.
to school, did people make fun of you like, oh, Denny's?
Yeah, a little bit here and there.
Yeah. So did you call yourself Danny or something? Or did you think about changing your name to Danny or what?
I mean, a lot of I've been called Danny, Vinny, Jenny. I mean, there's a whole slew of different names I've been called, but I always got to correct it. It's Denny, like the restaurant.
It's Denny like the restaurant. Oh, Denny's, Grand Slam. You think that's bad? I mean, you did have it bad. I could tell with the Denny's thing. But anyway.
He serves free breakfast on his birthday. So.
Exactly. So free breakfast to himself on his birthday. People would come up to me every Friday the 13th and say, oh, like Friday the 13th, like Jason Voorhees. And I go, oh my God, you're so clever. How long did it take to think about the fact that today is actually Friday the 13th and my name is actually Jason and the murderer in Friday the 13th is Jason? Tyler, what did they make fun of you for? They didn't make fun of Tyler because he's so damn cool.
I had it easy.
He had it easy because he's cool, man. Everybody wanted to hang out with the cool kid. I take Tyler with me around the world. Everywhere we go, everybody just wants to hang out, talk to Tyler. All right, thank you, Denny. I got you. Cheers, bye.
All right.
Okay, that went pretty well.
That was a grand slam of a question.
That was a grand slam of a question. Yes, it was. Root to tutti, fresh and fruity. Great advice, Scott.
Oh,
well done.
Thanks. No.
And you know what else is great? DNA Mail, DNA Mail. Everybody loves DNA Mail. Sponsoring the show since episode 1. They've done 39 shows in a row. And if you're going to host an Exchange server and get an IT guy to work at your company, you're a donkey. It's a stupid thing to do. You should outsource that, just like you outsource your legal or your accounting work and all these other things that are not core to a startup's business. And DNA Mail provides fully hosted, managed Microsoft Exchange and Google Apps. They partner with Google. Pretty good. And it's much more economical. You pay per user. There's no other cost. It's 99.9999% uptime or whatever they say when they do all those nines. And yeah, go ahead. Try to host your own email servers. You're going to be the cost of like upgrading the drives and dealing with when they crash and all your emails down and everybody's complaining and work stops. Forget it. DNA Mail. Everybody loves DNA Mail. I've been practicing my reads.
Wow, that's pretty good.
I love doing the live commercial reads.
That was good.
It's so much fun. Okay, now for the next part of the show is Jason's Shark Tank.
I need money. What I want, that's what I want. That's what I want.
One more time.
What I want, that's what I want.
Boom! 540 people are watching live, and even though Mark Burnett didn't select me to be on Shark Tank, the other big reality TV show emailed again this week. They got treatments, and we're going into, I guess we're going to have meetings. Meetings.
You're going to be pitching the pitch show.
Pitching the pitch show.
Pitching.
All right, here we go. Nobody blog about that. It's probably not going to happen. Every couple of months, somebody says, oh, you should be on TV, to reality TV. I said, why would I need TV? I'm doing Ustream. I'm 500 people watching live, 25,000 people downloading it. Why would I deal with you knuckleheads in TV business? They're not going to get it right. But maybe they will. Who knows? Okay, you're calling from 01145, correct?
Yes, Denmark.
Denmark. You are a This Week in Startups fan from Denmark.
Yes, 11 o'clock around here. Big fan since Gary V, maybe.
Oh, good.
Around that time. 1 month later or something, I decided to quit and start my startup.
Really? Oh, wow. So you took the prescription, and 30 days later, you came out of your sickness of working for other people and started your own company.
Yes.
And now,
way more excited.
Yeah. It's basically like the Matrix. Once you realize that it's just the Matrix and you get out of your, like, that gelatinous gel and you rip it out, you say, I don't want to be part of the machine.
Yeah.
Now you can fight against the machine. Okay, calling from are you from Copenhagen?
Yeah, Copenhagen.
What's that restaurant in Copenhagen, the famous one with the open sandwiches on the brown bread?
Oh, I don't know. There are so many.
It's a woman's name. Like,
It's a woman. Why don't you look that up?
Marta
something?
It's a family restaurant.
Family restaurant that's been open forever. It's right in the center of Copenhagen.
mother,
but you get those brown bread sandwiches with the lox on top.
Schmorburg.
Is it Schmorburg? Is that how
Yeah, you have to get out. I'm actually Portuguese,
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm here for so
Okay.
I don't know all. Wow.
All right, so you know how Shark Tank works. You have 60 seconds to pitch us your idea. And I'm going to ask everybody who is in the chat room to rate the idea on a scale of 1 to 10 for the pitch and a scale of 1 to 10 for the idea. So everybody in the chat room get ready. Annabelle, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, 3, 2, go.
Okay, Influads.com is an advertising network built around influence. We aggregate different websites around topics of interest. For instance, startups, entrepreneurs, design, fashion. But Influads is also for advertising what minimalism is for architecture. We try to clear the web out of the bad advertisement. And we do this by having one very simple but premium ad per page. We carefully select our publishers and advertisers, so their unique value is reflected into the end user. This gives users a very clear value proposition, so they want to click the ads, and they also a very clean and clutter-free web experience, because the website is out of ads, basically. Advertisers win through influence, contextualization, and visual relevancy, since there is no noise fighting for their attention. There are a lot of other details, like endorsing advertisers and not endorsing their competitors, but basically this is influads.com.
Okay, well done. I think I understood the presentation, and I'm assuming Influads is influads.com?
Yes.
Okay.
F-L-U-S. Yeah.
Right, and Venture Hacks is one of your clients?
Yes, that's one of the most known ones on startups and entrepreneurs, actually.
Right. So what I interpreted from what you said is similar to the Dig ad model, where people vote up the ads. You only serve one ad. It's the most popular ad, and it's some huge ad or something like that. It's the only ad on the page. You have 100% share of voice. But I'm on the Venture Hack site, and I don't actually see the ad. So I don't know what the ad looks like. So I'm having a hard time figuring that part out. But I do like the idea of maybe only doing really good ads and voting them up. It's just a little bit hard, because sometimes the people who need advertising are the people who maybe are not as well known, so maybe they wouldn't get as many votes. But I think your pitch was clear, so I would give it a 7. And I've heard the idea before and seen it in various points, so I think that's also like a 6 or a 7. I'm looking in the chat room. I see people saying 6 and 7, 6 and 8, 3 and 7, 4 eyes glazing over, 3 and 3, too much. So anyway, you got a range of 6 and 8, 6 and 7.5. So I would say that you're in the good range. What does this? Oh, let me ask Scott. Scott, what did you think of the pitch and the idea?
You know, I think the idea actually has merit. I think
Sure.
vertical ad networks actually still have legs. You know,
Yep.
trying to create a horizontal one, forget about it. I think
Yeah.
there are too many in the world already.
Right.
But vertical ad networks, I think, actually is an interesting idea. I didn't like the pitch personally because, frankly, I didn't hear the story.
Right.
I didn't hear him tell a compelling reason about here's the problem.
Right.
Here's what I'm addressing. Here's
Sure.
my focus, and this is why it matters.
Right.
I didn't get that. So it felt like a laundry list of like I'm going to do this, this, and this, and it wasn't compelling from a story perspective.
I think that's good feedback. And so you would rate the pitch?
A pitch of 4, the idea is 7.
Okay. So if you had to choose, you would rather have a lower pitch and a better idea, because you can always make your pitch better. Tell me, I have a question, follow-up question. What does the ad look like? Is it a leaderboard, or is it a medium rectangle? I don't understand that piece.
The ad is actually in the front page, but very badly placed and with a color that kind of gets confused with the background. If you see on the top right, you will see there is a small ad there. So that's an area for improvement. The ad is not visible enough on the website.
Which website? Venture Hacks?
Oh no, VentureX. The community is launching only February 15th, so you have to wait 1 week to see on VentureX. If you go to influads.com, you will see on the top right corner one small ad, and that's basically the ad 125 by 90 pixels and 60 characters of text.
Strange. I'm on your side. I don't see it. But I do see that you have some. Pull out my screen for a second. I don't see it on the site. Where is the ad? Okay, well, and how do you select the ads again?
The community is very carefully curated. We carefully select publishers and advertisers to make sure we build a very solid community around one specific topic. We don't want advertisers that won't give any value to the user. So we are really keen into getting relevant people on board.
Oh, I see. So the ad on your site got your logo in it. And it says simple but meaningful in context and reach. So that little ad there is the ad, and it's one of those little box ads. Okay, so just a little tip here. If it's an ad, it's got to look like an ad. So I would put something in there that looks like an ad, you know, with an arrow on it that says, like, this is an ad, and here's how it will look, and here are some sample ads. The first thing I want to see on the site is, what are the sample ads? And so you're telling me that little tiny ad is the only ad that's going to be on the page?
Each website will have only one ad, like that. Each page.
So that's not going to work. It's not going to monetize.
No.
You're going to need a big ad that goes from left to right. That's like a marquee. If you're only going to have one, and you should say this is. You should somehow make it clear. This advertiser was selected by our customers. Please, you know, patronize them. Boom.
And I think operationally, making sure you have a standard IAB ad unit for efficiency reasons.
Sure.
When you have people who are going to like place ads on your site.
Totally.
They don't want to do custom creative. You need to be standard ad unit sizes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not aggressive enough. It's too small, especially if you can have one. And you know, the problem is really going to be most small sites have a hard time getting one advertiser, two advertisers. Now you're saying there has to be a market of them to get voted up and down, and so that's going to be hard because you're going to be turning away money, and most people don't have enough money. So, you know, if this was Engadget and was sold out for the year, you could maybe do that. And in fact, I think that's how. I think either Vanity Fair or Rolling Stone worked that way. They used to, or maybe it was Cigar Aficionado. The head of the publisher of Cigar Aficionado, I think, used to pick who got the back cover based on how beautiful their ads were.
Oh wow!
So like you could say like, I would like to have the back cover, and then he'd look through the ads and say, okay, you got it, and then they charge you a little extra for the back cover from whatever spot you're in. Anyway, you did a good job. You got a lot more work to do, and everybody can follow you. Are you on Twitter at InfluAds?
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody will follow you, and keep us apprised. Scott Simcoe, superfan Scott Simcoe, who is now blogger Scott Simcoe, will be following up with you in 30 days and seeing how you're doing. Hopefully you can keep iterating and make it better.
Yes.
Well
Thanks
done.
a lot for the feedback.
Cheers.
The feedback by Twitter is very welcome.
Okay, good luck, and get some sleep.
Thanks.
Bye. It's freezing in Denmark.
The Danes.
The Danes. I have a hard time with ad networks because you know, there's a lot of great innovative ideas, but you know, it has to work for the advertiser. I don't know how this exactly works for the advertiser. I understand why it works for the users. Users want to see better ads. But
I'm not even sure it works for the publisher. You got to pick one. Either work for the publisher or work for the advertiser.
I mean, the only thing that Google AdSense does work for the publisher, the advertiser, and the consumer.
Because of liquidity, though. They have enough volume.
They have
and
critical mass.
Yes.
And
scale matters.
His idea, scale matters, and he doesn't have it. Even if you look at Dig, which is a very significant site with 40 or 50 million uniques, I'm not sure exactly how many they have, maybe 40 or 50 million uniques, and they even are having a hard time, but they're doing something very innovative with you dig the ads, and you know, if they get a lot of digs, they get charged less money, which I think is pretty compelling, so they get to show more ads.
That is good.
So the more digs it gets, the lower the price gets. I mean, it's great that people are trying to crowdsource this, but ads are meant to be a little disruptive, so it's nice to innovate, but who knows. Now, we got an interesting package in the mail. And I should probably show it, but let's see here. This is a pretty crazy, we get a lot of crazy super fans on the show, Scott.
Okay.
And the super fans they're very creative, the super fans.
Should I stand back?
No, it's not a bomb. I always, when these kind of boxes come into the office, I'm like, this could be dangerous. Tyler, you open it.
Cool.
So somebody made T-shirts, but not one, but a number of them. And you might recognize some of these. This T-shirt says, well, it's kind of hard to see because it says, but it actually says, like sneakers at a funeral.
Oh my God.
Which some of you might remember is an insight by Tyler, like sneakers at a funeral. Pretty nice. And I wonder if you put on Scott's camera for a second. Maybe I can hold that up like that and you'll see it. Can we try the guest camera? Yeah, there you go. Look at that. I can actually, so there you go. That's like sneakers at a funeral. Pretty funny. And they actually have sneakers on a coffin. Pretty good, huh, Tyler?
Yep.
Then, if people are like, oh my God, that's so awesome, it gets better. That is but one T-shirt. This one, everybody remembers as a great insight by Tyler, which is, it's like betting against the Mayans. Which, if you don't know why you shouldn't bet against the Mayans, you shouldn't be betting. And you can see there's a Mayan temple on the Ace of Spades. like betting against the mines. People are going crazy in the chat room. Then, another great T-shirt. It's like Japanese jazz. Another great insight by Tyler. And the final one, everybody's favorite, probably the one that started it all. Was that the one that started it all?
Yeah, it is the first one.
And the one that started it all, of course, like a wheelchair at Disney. And you can see the person in the wheelchair is obviously Mickey Mouse if he was handicapped. So like a wheelchair at Disney, some insane fan went crazy and made these shirts. Now, we got 4 of these shirts, but are they available for sale on the site?
He didn't say.
He didn't say. He just sent them.
He did leave his phone number.
He left his phone number. Let's try doing a little live call. This is the first time we've ever done it. We're going to call the guy who made these crazy shirts, and we'll see if we can buy them. I'm trying to do that so people don't memorize the phone number from the sounds. There we go. Shh, everybody, shh. 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 It's ringing. Shh.
Does that have his name on there?
Shh. 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 Shh.
This is Charles. I'm sorry I missed your call, but the best way to reach me is to text me. Thanks.
Hi, Charles. It's Jimmy Wales. I noticed your website, and I was really interested in talking to you about how we might work together. My phone number is 310-456-4900. Again, it's Jimmy Wales of Wikia. Talk to you soon. This is pretty funny, huh? So you're like, what is Jimmy Wales calling me for? We'll see if he... So somebody text him, somebody who has the number, and text him and tell him, well, how do we do that? Whatever. Anyway, thank you to him for making these crazy shirts. And the guy is from SureTeeApp. SureTeeApp. ShirteeApp.com. And we're trying to figure out what this is. But SureTeeApp, I have it pulled up on my screen here, is you can make a T-shirt with your iPhone. And so we think that this person made these shirt. We think the person is from this company. Is that right?
Right.
And that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
To make a T-shirt from your iPhone. Bizarre, but good. Okay, so that's that.
Hopefully we'll have those available somewhere at some point for, yeah.
With the air conditioner.
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully they'll be for sale at some point. Voicemail got a 5 for the performance and an 8 for the I. I don't know what the I is for the idea. Okay, very good. People are rating the voicemail now. WebSpy, thank you to WebSpy for sponsoring the show. Another sponsor for all 39 episodes, I believe. They monitor all kinds of activity from employee internet access to mail servers, to web hosts, analyze for traffic levels, pattern errors, and more. A total log analysis solution. And you can pick all this stuff and see whatever you want and what's going on your network. And that keeps you from having problems like, you don't want to have a problem with an employee doing something illegal on your network. We've all seen what can happen when people have employees doing bad things on their network. You don't want to have to monitor everybody looking over the shoulder. So maybe you want to know what's going on and somebody's got BitTorrent traffic going on, maybe they shouldn't, etc. They're not there to block anything. They're not into censorship. They just want to give you an education as to what's going on in your network so you can avoid problems in the future. This is very important to do. And if you're a fan of the show, you should always thank the sponsors by saying thank you at Bing, at Ustream, at WebSpy, at DNA Mail, and at PowerVPS, who we'll talk about during the news. Scott, thanks for being on the program. We've been waiting for a long time to have you on.
Oh, thank you.
And I knew you guys were doing this deal for a while, and I said, hey, why don't you wait until the deal closes, because then you'll have a lot to talk about.
Absolutely.
So tell us, why did you guys do this deal? I mean, two different companies that were competing, and then how do you see them coming together? Are you going to make one site out of the two of them? Are they going to remain two communities? Why'd you do the deal, and what's next?
So, as you know, we've been in social shopping, kind of pioneered the category since '06. And one of the things we've found is that community tends to aggregate around a distinct passion topic or vertical. So let's take fashion, for example. The people who are into fashion are really into fashion, and they may or may not be into other categories like home and garden or sports and outdoors. And frankly, from a consumer standpoint, what we felt was we would be better off serving those community members who are passionate about social shopping through vertical properties versus a singular umbrella brand that tried to be all things to all people. And acquiring Style Hive was opportunistic because it allowed us to set in place, frankly, our strategic roadmap of going after social shopping in a vertical way. So we created, with the acquisition, a new corporate brand, which is Curate Media, and I'll give you a little bit of explanation around why Curate Media in a second. But the plan is that we will have Style Hive be our mainstream social shopping property in fashion, beauty, and style. It will keep its brand, it'll keep its site, it'll serve that community. And ThisNext will actually be slightly repositioned back to its original core and the DNA in which it launched, which is design products. So those interesting, unique, specialized products, that boutique-like shopping experience, that is what ThisNext will actually serve. And then we have additional categories that we plan to launch either organically, and frankly, we're also looking to acquire more companies in 2010. So categories like sports and outdoors, tech and gadgets, eco-green, parenting kids. We have an ambitious plan to create a portfolio of vertically driven social shopping properties which serve those communities that form around that.
Awesome. And so I'm looking at ThisNext right now, and so we talked about social shopping before.
Right.
Real people making real pics, and then you try to surface them.
Sure.
And it's amazing. You do actually find really neat things. So it's like a dig type experience, except you don't see the number of votes, but people are surfacing the most interesting products. And I've bought products from here a number of times.
Sure.
And I'm like, how come I can't find those products anywhere? But what is it that makes this work? Is it just a cool hunters out there or something?
Yeah, at the core of our business model is crowdsourcing. So we rely on the community and the passionate people who are avid shoppers in that particular vertical to go out and scour the web and bring back to the community the best products. And again, they do that because of status and recognition.
Right.
And frankly, they're just fanatical about that particular vertical. So that crowdsourcing creates a pool of products, and then we use collaborative filters, we use algorithms, and frankly, internally, we select, and it's our form of editorial, which is curation. We curate that content up from the crowdsourced content, which in essence programs the particular site and vertical. So that's why we've launched the name Curate Media, is it actually applies to our business model.
Right.
Crowdsource content in distinct verticals and then curate it through algorithms or through editorial.
Right, which is what my next question would be, is controlling spam and something like this. So if you look here, this candle thing is very cool. It's like a candle holder that I guess when you burn the wax, it goes into this bottle, and you just have like this huge ball of wax. It's kind of crazy. And it's recommended by just Alina's. And I can go click on her to see what else she's done. Excuse the slow connection here. We only have a 20 megabit connection on an Apple MacBook that has 60 kilobits of RAM, I think. It takes forever. We have to get this out of here. Anyway, you get to see what else she's recommended, and she's got her profile here with other kind of interesting things like these sneakers and a metal sign and a thumb piano. And you can see her influence. She's in the top 0.4%.
With 8,000 picks.
With 8,000 picks. So this is a pretty serious person, but she's #1 in Atlanta, #6 in Brooklyn, etc. So she's a power user, and you can see she's got her friends here. So I could look at this person, Joyce White, who's blowing a kiss to the camera. And you start to find all these people who are, I guess, passionate about products and picking them.
Yeah, and the fundamental value prop we're offering again to consumers is, what should I buy? And unlike comparison shopping, which is really fulfilling demand that's already there and it's more transactional in nature, we're further up the marketing funnel in helping people discover products. So discovery is a huge part of the UI. It's a huge part of the algorithms that we create. And frankly, when you come to ThisNext, I'd be surprised if you didn't find something that you didn't know existed.
And that you'd be interested in, frankly.
Yeah, it's really that fun, entertaining, quite social shopping experience that we really focus on.
So how do you control spam in something like this? Because I'm looking at it going, my God, there's all these interesting people putting stuff up here, but isn't somebody going to start putting affiliate links in here and just start spamming it like crazy with their idiotic stuff? How do you make sure that? Look at this one. This is a groovy one. Rubik's Cube salt and pepper grinders.
Yeah, I mean where would you ever see that?
Ever see that, it's almost like, I mean, this is like, if I have to buy Tyler a birthday present, I'm going to this site because I've never seen Tyler so happy as when he saw the salt and pepper thing. Yeah. You must love ThisNext.
Yeah.
You browse through it, and it's interesting. You can look at people are talking about this, how great this is. Interesting.
But,
so how do you control spam?
Well, you have to moderate crowdsourced content. I mean, frankly, filtered UGC is not tremendously valuable to the consumer, in my opinion.
Right.
I think you have to have some moderation, and that either has to come internally through people you staff who look at the content, are monitoring for spam, monitoring for improper behavior that's not in line with our values of our brand. But we also rely on the real, trendsetters and what we call the mavens. These are people that we bestow almost an editorial distinction because of their influence, because of their activity, and frankly because of their good standing in the community. They, in fact, do a better job than we do internally because they're so active of policing the content. And they're always raising to us, hey, look at so-and-so, this is not right. And they'll flag it, and then we'll evaluate it, and then we'll reach out to the person and say, this is not in line with our values.
And Style Hive,
yep.
So basically to recap, in terms of spam, you look for spam and you get rid of it. And the community looks for it and gets rid of it.
And we're not 100%.
Right.
I mean,
and if you go crazy, you turn it to 4chan.
Absolutely.
And so it's pretty obvious what happens if you don't.
Right.
Here's Style Hive, and what's popular on Style Hive this month, which seems to revolve around lingerie and underwear and bras. Not complaining or anything. I'm just making an observation.
Well, and it's a community as well. I mean, they crowdsource, and they have more of a bookmarking. It's more of a technical explanation.
Right.
We're not technically a bookmarking service at ThisNext. Style Hive actually is in the way that they bring content back because each item is an individual SKU, an individual link on the site. We consolidate that into one item on ThisNext. It's a more of a technical back-end.
Technical thing.
Yeah,
but they do explicitly show how many times it's been saved. So they take the delicious metaphor. And then they list that, so it's sort of like votes, like Dig. You guys don't show votes.
No.
What is the thinking behind, because now you have two brands, one showing votes, one not showing votes. What is the thinking, which works better and why?
I don't think it's a matter of one works better than the other. Frankly, one of the things we liked that they had and did a better job and showed proficiency around was creating editorial. You'll see that there's actually a pretty active blog component to the service and the programming. And frankly, on ThisNext, we had relied almost entirely for the last 3 years on crowdsourced content that we filtered, of course, and moderated. But we felt that we could actually enhance the value that we provide to users around product discovery by putting more of an editorial veneer on top of the crowdsourced content. So they've done a good job of that, and we certainly want to borrow that in terms of enhancing our service. Frankly, I think it's the combination. I had a lot of debates with a lot of people who run community, and there's so many frankly, dogmatic philosophies about, if you crowdsource content, it's the only form of content you can have. I don't believe that. I believe crowdsourced content can coexist with editorial. I think it can coexist with brand content if labeled and marked accurately. And I think it can coexist with other forms of paid content. And, frankly, as long as it's delineated and as long as it's focused around product discovery and helping the consumer get to those great products, to me, it's actually a win-win. Yeah. So I don't really, view it as they're better, this is worse. I think all content is either
it's helpful.
done well or not.
Yeah. So I guess if the mission is to find interesting things, both sites do that. They do it slightly differently. Here's one thing that Style Hive has that's pretty interesting, which is a leaderboard of the top users. Top user with 24,000 people, 6,900 people on BusyBee, follows 12,000 following this person, 11,000. And then I see something interesting. Saks Fifth Avenue has a user account, as does Levi Jessica. I'm assuming that those two people are actually from the brands?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things they do a much better job than we have at ThisNext. But we frankly want to borrow that and leverage that into our platform. Because again, if you're passionate about a particular vertical, getting brand content that's delineated, qualified ahead of time, I think is a value to the user. So they do a great job of it, and we're going to definitely leverage that.
It seems like what Style Hive has done particularly well is get this sort of social media following each other thing going really well. But when I look at the top level of it and I try to browse it, not as great of a browse experience as ThisNext. So now, as a CEO of two companies with two different skill sets, one is doing a great job on community, crushing it, but not very browsable, looks a little too busy to me. The other one looks gorgeous, but maybe not as much community activity. How are you going to take those two things and take the two disciplines and make them cross-pollinate? It must be incredibly hard because one is built on another platform in another city, and you're going to go to a common platform. And how do you keep the company moving forward with all of that overhead of, oh my God, these people are on Linux and these people are on, is one written in PHP and another one Python?
There's Java, Perl, absolutely.
So I mean, you got a lot of work. How long is it? So I just asked you 17 questions. How long is it going to take? Are you looking forward to this, or is this just going to be a brutal 6 months of integration?
Yeah, well, acquisitions are hard. So, if you look at the history of any company who's done acquisitions, there are tremendous operating challenges that are inherent in doing them. One of the things, though, that we liked about StyleHive, and frankly, it mitigates some of the risks that you appropriately mentioned, is that the core and the DNA, if you really get down to the value prop, which, there are different ways to cosmetically present a solution around a value prop. But if you get down to the value prop of product discovery, both sides do that. Now, for the time being, and when I say the time being, I mean pretty much for the remainder of this year, we're going to continue to operate StyleHive pretty much as it is, because they're serving a community pretty well today. And ThisNext, we actually do have a pretty exciting site redesign that we're launching probably in the spring. We've got some mocks. We've started some development of it. It's really, really cool stuff, and it does get back to how it's being positioned within Curate Media. So our focus will be on that property. StyleHive, frankly, its traffic is continuing to grow. The community seems really engaged. We're not planning to do much with that site in 2010 because we also want to add additional properties. So if it wasn't challenging enough to try to integrate,
so which platform then are you going to do it on? Is it going to be the StyleHive platform or the ThisNext platform, or do you take the two teams and say, let's make a third platform to unite them all?
It's the latter. Yeah. So we
oh my God. So that is a lot of work.
Well, but the latter is actually oriented around search. So if you think about your good friends at Bing and also the other search service that's out there, having
Yahoo.
Yes.
I think you're talking about ask.com. No, of course, Google. Right.
Frankly, we get a lot of our traffic, as do most publishers, from search engines, and we don't think that's a bad thing.
No.
We think it's a great thing, and it's validation that our content is credible, that it has a lot of referring links, that we do a good job of refining search terms, and then frankly monetizing it. So we're developing a next generation platform that actually works across both properties, that allows us to take content of all forms to actually put into that engine that actually drives search efficiently, where we compete well, and most importantly, where we can monetize it.
Got it. So is it like.com is the one that's in the market that people are doing searching for products on? Yeah, so Like is what I would call second generation comparison shopping, in that they almost exclusively rely on algorithms to create product discovery. They do a fantastic job of it, by the way. It's a very well run company. But they also, and this is a difference, is they exclusively rely on SEM and paid traffic for their distribution. So they're focused on RPV. Traffic to
they're not trying to really create community. There's no crowdsourced content. There's no consumer direct experience. It's really arbitrage in second generation form.
So just to define for the audience, what is arbitrage? What is SEM? Explain what you mean.
Yeah. So they're, as with any internet business, there are a few things you have to get right. One of them is distribution. And for most comparison shopping businesses, and historically the original ones were Shopping.com, PriceGrabber, Shopzilla, NextTag, etc., they essentially used arbitrage and paid search to create their distribution. What do I mean by that?
Yes.
Essentially, Google AdWords, Yahoo has a similar paid search service where you can bid on specific keywords that you want to rank highly in the paid search results for to drive traffic to your site. So it becomes a game of arbitrage, because what you bid on that keyword to drive traffic from the search service into your property, you obviously have to make more money than what you've bid on in order to create margin. So these companies become maniacally focused on revenue per visit and click-through rate. It's almost the only metrics that matter. They don't care about direct audience. They don't care about engagement. They care about how efficiently can I get you into my service and get you out in margin. So that's
here,
the arbitrage.
I just typed in a search for men's blue shirt.
Yeah. In where? Where did you type it in?
I did Google this time.
Okay.
And only because I wanted to see they have more ads on Google. I mean, Bing is a much more clean experience with less ads. Joking. But as you see here, when I type that in, the last ad Blue Men's Shirts is from like.com. I click on that, and I go to a page, and this is what arbitrage is for people who don't know, and paid searches. They send people to a page that is optimized to make money.
Absolutely.
So they just pay 10 cents for that link, for that click. They get 1,000 clicks that would cost them.
By the way, they probably paid 30 to 40 cents. Like,
okay.
just, I mean, it's
shopping's expensive.
It's very expensive.
So let's say they paid 30 cents per click. That means if they had 1,000 clicks, that cost $300. So they paid $300 to send 1,000 people to this page. And on this page, if you look at the page that sent me to the landing, are a bunch of blue shirts from different people. And they're getting paid probably on conversion or on a sale or on a click?
Like's getting paid on click basis. There are models that are CPA in nature, so it depends.
So if they're getting paid on click here, they have a direct relationship with all these different providers to get paid per click, you think?
You know, I don't know the nuance of their operations, but it could be that they have developed individual relationships with brands. Most likely they've done an aggregated relationship. For example, shopping.com has white labeled, as has PriceGrabber and Shopzilla, a component of their business to allow publishers or distribution points to cut one relationship, and they've in turn cut many to the individual retailers.
So if they get paid 40 cents per 20 cents a click here,
you just made 10 cent margin.
If they get paid 40, but then why wouldn't that person just buy the keyword blue shirts themselves? That's what I don't understand.
Which person?
The Zappos, or because I saw Zappos on the list, or Cattenberry, or whoever these people are selling shirts.
You know, the engineering and the you know, frankly, the technology and the platform involved to do paid search at scale. First of all, I'm sure they are.
Right.
So Zappos, any retailer, is doing some form of paid search, either in-house or most likely through an agency.
Because I see Nordstrom and LLB and Lands' End and J. Crew above them, so basically they're competing with them to sell their own shirts.
Yeah, like, you know, if you know, operationally, I know, you know, like, for example, I think they have, at the time, 50 employees, 45 are engineers. Like, it's a very engineering-intensive business
So basically their site has no community, but they just do all the SEM. You guys are all community, and you get SEO.
Yeah, so
two different types of businesses.
Let's do an example by comparison. If you're in Google and you type in funny clock.
Clock or clock?
Yeah, clock, C-L-O-C-K.
Ah, funny clock.
Yeah, or you could do cute summer dress, either one, but funny clock. So
Best funny clocks. Boom, you're number 2.
We're number 2.
And this is a great experience.
It's a mid to long tail search term, which is where we tend at ThisNext to focus our product. You look at that list. It's a great user experience if you're looking for funny clocks. Wow, you know, we've consolidated all of those products that meet that term. And that's a great example of how we're taking crowdsourced content. We're refining those results based on original search terms from all search engines, including Bing. And when the user comes to our site, we're creating a compelling and refined search experience.
By the number of people who essentially voted for it, recommendations. And of course you get the whatever clock. Which has, this is for the person who's given up in life. The whatever clock.
Whatever.
Tyler, I'm going to get you this for Christmas.
That's great, isn't
it?
Isn't that great? Yeah.
I'll get that clock for Jimmy Wells. Jimmy Fallon's clock. Whatever.
And I think one of the distinctions I'd make is because we have community and we have crowdsourced content and we actually do care about the consumer and in a, you know, engaged experience, we have more media DNA than a traditional comparison shopping company. And that's reflective of the revenue model. We have a third of our revenue today come from traditional CPM brand advertisers looking to reach an audience in a, you know, standard IAB way or custom ad integrations within our conversational media. And then 2/3 of our revenue is coming from leads that we create on behalf of brands and retailers when we pass, in the example of Funny Clock, a consumer who did a search term, came to our site, refined their search visit on our site, and then we pass it to the brand and retailer, we get paid a lead fee for doing that.
Cool. And the sites right now, Style Hive and ThisNext, both getting about 1 million people a month using it?
You know, internally, we always use our internal logs. You can look at other data as well, but 3.3 million monthly uniques collectively. You know, our business is seasonal, so that's as of today. We will be higher certainly over the holiday season and as we continue to grow organically, but it's about evenly split between the two.
So this is a new thing. People have to try to people haven't, in a large way, learned what this is yet. I mean, right now they're doing searches to find stuff.
Absolutely.
Like I did, blue shirt. Or they go, you know, to Amazon and try to use the category system and drill down. What you're saying is, instead of using search and a deliberate method, just browse. And it's curated. Not unlike when you go to the mall and what they put in the front of the store is different than what's in the back of the store.
And there's so many use cases where that's appropriate. Let's say in fact, someone who just had a baby like yourself.
Yes.
If I were to be a good citizen and a good friend, which I am remiss that I've not done that so far,
You will.
and buy you a gift for your baby, where would I start? I don't have a child, so how would I search in Google for baby gift?
Right.
Versus on a service like ThisNext, where you could actually discover cool baby gift products.
It's amazing. I just typed in baby, and I really want to get this Jimi Hendrix yellow short sleeve onesie.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, where would you ever find that in, how would you search for that in Google, right?
Of course not, yeah. And all these, baby book with a wood cover. It's kind of cool. I'm going to just see, this is the thing about when you do a search on ThisNext, you just sort of disappear into it for an hour because there's so many interesting things.
One of my favorite features, and I know you've been a fan of it for a while, and I think you even talked about it with Twitter developing a knockoff on ours as well, is our world map of watching people shop.
Yeah, that's great.
It's
it's under Explore?
Yeah, it's under Explore. It's basically it's a voyeuristic way to observe real time on our site what people are shopping for.
It's the shopping stream.
Yeah, and
so here it is. I pulled it up.
And this shows around the world. And look at this. I mean, now we're in the UK. Someone's discovered a Dolce & Gabbana corset. Now we're back in the US and LA. And again, this is real time on our site. This is a reflection of both the global scale of our business, plus it gives you insight into some of the cool, unique products. Down at the footer, I don't know if you can see in the screen load.
I do.
It's loading the products that you've, in essence, discovered.
Right.
So it's creating a trail. And if at any point you want to dive deeper, you can click on one of those images and go to the item page and go buy it.
That is pretty groovy.
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
I'm waiting for something to come out from Kazakhstan, but I'm no ThisNext users from North Korea?
Yeah.
Not what?
Yeah.
Where are the
yeah.
Well done, well done.
Yeah.
And so you came in as the sort of professional CEO to ThisNext after there was a startup founder.
Sure.
What's it like to come in after there's an original founder? What's the pros? What's the cons?
Yeah.
How do you come in and sort of take over a company when you have a passionate founder and you're coming in some ways as like the suit or the professional manager and all these different ways they describe professional CEOs? What's that like?
Yeah, so there's one added wrinkle. I didn't come in as CEO. I came in as president. And I think it made it even more challenging, frankly. Now, I was fortunate in that I was blessed with, a very supportive board, supportive of the company, supportive of me, and frankly, more so, a really gracious, honorable founder in Gordon, who, frankly, that's a tough transition for any entrepreneur.
Give up your baby.
Yeah, and he was incredible in that transition, always supportive of me, and I was lucky on that front. Now, the challenges are tremendous. Typically, professional managers, and I say professional, it's not like entrepreneurs aren't professional, but in terms of scaling businesses, I have professional training in doing that, and have done so at a lot of publicly traded companies. Coming in, there was a different way of doing things because it was very entrepreneurial, as it should have been, very seed-oriented. And, Gordon had a very special skill set that was oriented around early stage. We were transitioning from that. And so getting an operating rhythm with a founder who remains in the business, who still has the CEO title, but the board and also the business is looking for more professional management and to scale the company, it's going to naturally create conflicts. And, we had them. But again, I was lucky in that we worked through them. We worked through them with respect. And he and I are still very close friends. I see him occasionally, and he's still a member of the board. So, but, it was a tough year and a half.
It's always a tough transition when
the other part is, and, you've started a lot of companies as well and been tremendously successful. When you can pick your team from the ground, that makes all the difference in the world. I inherited everything. I inherited a board. I inherited investors. I inherited a CEO that I had to supplant.
So then you've got to go create your own culture with soldiers that you didn't hire for your army.
Yep, exactly. And you don't have time to pull the car over, change the wheels, stop momentum, and tell the board, let's hold off on metrics and growth. While I go,
let's take a pause. Let's reboot.
You can't do that.
You can't really do
I
it.
think a lot of good lessons. It was tough, and I think frankly, it's taken 2 years to get to a place where I feel like it's truly now a reflection of me, which feels good. But it was definitely tough. It is a lot of work.
And not to mention the worst time for startups since the 99-2000 period can't be fun. You guys had to lay some people off like we did. It's brutal to have to resize and change the team. I just got an alert that the Shirt Appy guy, Shirt T app guy, is on hold.
Oh.
Send him through. Let's talk to this guy.
Let's get this guy, yeah.
And these things are going to go up on ThisNext. So,
great.
Hello, this is Jimmy Wales' office. May I help you?
Hello, this is Charles.
Charles, hi. You're speaking with Jimmy Wales.
How's it going?
Good. No, hey, it's Jason.
Your voicemail confused me at first. I was like, Jimmy Wales, my website. I don't know what you're talking about. But I'll make sense now.
So you made an application called Shirt T App. Shirty.
Right.
And it's shirtyapp.com. And tell us, what is this application? You basically get a free plug because you did such amazing work on these things. What is it?
The idea is custom t-shirts on the go. So you can create a custom t-shirt, order it, pay for it from your iPhone. So photographs from your phone, take a photograph, text and graphics, all right from anywhere you are with your phone.
Can I just tell you something right now?
Yeah.
It's genius. So you're saying I could take a picture of my daughter or my dog and then ship it to you and make a t-shirt?
Exactly.
That is awesome.
How did you come up with that idea? It is so brilliant.
Well, I've been an Apple fanboy for a long time, and I've been in the t-shirt business for about 3.5 years, and I just thought, gosh, it'd be awesome to find a way to make an application, and so we found I have some contacts and some friends in the Phoenix area who have a company called Integrum, and they do custom mobile applications, and we met up, and so they're building the app for us, and we're really close to submitting to Apple for approval.
Oh, so it's not an Apple yet. What's your
Not
story?
yet.
Are you an entrepreneur or something? You said you had a t-shirt business before this?
Yes. Yeah, we started. My business partner and I started a t-shirt company in Tempe, Arizona, 3.5 years ago called Brandex Custom T-Shirts on Mill Avenue in downtown Tempe, right next to ASU. So our whole business model is based around the custom one-off t-shirt. So we're doing basically what Cafe Press is doing, but we're doing it in a retail setting. So you come into the store, and we have a selection of fonts and graphics that you can come and create your own design. And so we print in any quantity. So if you want to make a shirt for yourself, put something amazing on it, or whatever. So
that is so genius. What does it cost to make one of these shirts? I see it's American Apparel, which means that's got to be a $15 shirt from the get-go?
Right. Well, we're actually doing a similar brand, American Apparel. It's called Tooltex, and they're the same kind of cut. And so, but it's a little bit cheaper than American Apparel, but it's the same exact quality and same exact cut. But we can offer the shirt at a lower price. The price point starts at $14. You get a shirt with text on it starting at $14.
Really?
And
wow.
ranges between like $14 and $25 for a t-shirt. Yeah.
Are these like iron-on? What's the technology?
We call it plot printing. It's heat transferred vinyl for the text and graphics, and then a full color transfer process for the photographs.
And so you made these one-off shirts, very creative. Who did the design on these?
My business partner, both, and I collaborated on the different designs.
And you're fans of the show or something? Did somebody who watches the show say, "Hey, you should make some"?
I've been watching the show since it started. So I'm actually more. I'm an audio guy, so I put a podcast in and listen to it when I'm working, I'm driving.
Right. Awesome. Well, you sent 4 shirts, and I want to keep them all for myself, but I think I'm going to give them to the audience. And Tyler's really pissed off, but Tyler wants a set of these shirts. Can anybody just buy these shirts at Brandex store or something? How can people buy these?
I'm planning on. I reserved for myself a twistshirts.com.
Okay.
And I'm going to set up a really simple shopping cart there, so people can actually. And I'm going to upload them. People could actually buy them from there.
Perfect. So Tyler gets Tyler gets what, like a 2% royalty or something?
Yeah, I think he probably should, right?
I think Tyler should get like a 3% royalty. I mean, these things are going to sell like hotcakes.
He needs to have we need like the logo for Inside Some Tyler or something to put up there too.
Absolutely. Make it. This is the Entrepreneurial Show, and I think we just took your website down because so many people went to it. I am going to give these 4 shirts away to somebody who says, thank you to our sponsors. Everybody knows the sponsors' names, at Bing, at DNA Mail, at Ustream, at WebSpy, and at Power VPS. Those are the 5 you need to say thank you to. Thanks at Bing, DNA Mail, at Ustream, at WebSpy, at Power VPS for supporting This Week in Startups. Put the #twist hashtag on there. And do you have a Twitter account, the handle?
Yes, at Shirty App.
Okay, and then at Shirty App. You can at Shirty App. Whoever thanks the audience, whoever thanks them, I am going to go ahead and give you one of these shirts. We have 4 of them, so 4 people get to win. Always thank the sponsors. It is your Geary to do so. Let me thank you again, Charles, for doing this. It's very cool of you and very entrepreneurial of you. This business, you're going to raise money for this business, the Shirty App business? Or is
Well, it's actually a larger plan to become. We have retail, we'll have the mobile application, and we're really close to having our web app. So we're hoping to have our company was based upon three points of revenue: retail, web, and mobile application. So there's a bigger plan in place here, and we're just trying to pull it together. So I actually found your show by talking to a really great entrepreneurial gal named Francine Hardaway here in Phoenix, and she turned me on to your show.
Awesome.
Because I was talking to her about finding funding eventually for my company.
Great. Well, we don't have Open Angel Forum in Phoenix yet, but people have pinged me about the possibility of it. We just had Boulder. So
good.
Yeah, good.
A lot of entrepreneurship here in Phoenix. It's awesome.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you for the shirts. We're going to give those away to the users. Hopefully, you can send a couple more here for Tyler and myself.
I will.
As many as you send, we will give away. And thanks again. And good luck with your business. And can I ask? So anyway, I'll let you go. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Cheers. Bye. We have a new social media ninja here. Is that correct? We have somebody working here who's got the title of social media ninja. So we have Kenny Chen, the professor, I think they call him. Mm-hmm. Is he called the professor on Kevin Pollak's show? And why don't we have the video of the crew out there? Do we have a crew cam outside? I would like to take that from Kevin Pollak's show. Can we put the crew cam up or no? We have no crew cam? Okay, no problem. So we have Kenny Chen. Then you have Emily, who just took over for Alex, to do an excellent job. And then there is a social media ninja, Natasha, who's working here. So we got 3 people working here at This Weekend Studios, which is a separate company. It's not Mahalo. ThisWeekend.com is a separate company. CEO going to be running that company, probably going to raise a little bit of money for it, spin it out. My show's part of it, but I'm not the CEO. And she is responsible for all the tweets and the Facebook, so you got to get to know Natasha at ThisWeekend.com. I think it's Natasha at This Weekend. Emily is at ThisWeekend.com. And there's a show after this one, and there was a show before this one. We did This Week in Twitter before my show, and after the show we're doing This Week in Android. That's 3 This Weekend shows in 3 weeks. And you're doing This Week in Insights.
I like it.
This Week in Insights. All right, let's go to the news segment. Everybody loves the news segment. Let's bring in Lonnie Donnie. Lonnie Donnie. Whoa, Lon is looking so sharp in his blazer. Lon looking so good with his blazer.
I do what I can.
What happened with the hair gel? You used to have a little hair gel. It used to be tight. Now it's poof.
You know, I just went and got a haircut last week, and they left it real poofy. I told them to take it all off. You like the poofy?
I like it. It's a good look.
All right, fair enough.
You look good.
Thank you.
How was Sundance? Welcome back.
Oh, yeah, Sundance was a lot of fun. We only got to see a couple films because it's so, you have to really get in line for hours and really hustle around town. And
yeah.
But we got 2 great films. Both the movies I saw were really good.
What was your favorite film?
The first one we saw was called Blue Valentine. The Weinsteins have picked it up, so it's going to come out. Amazing, amazing. Good. Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams, and it's sort of, you see them as they meet and fall in love, and then you flash forward to 5 years and you see their sort of marriage hitting a rough patch, and you switch back and forth. It was really well done.
The old juxtaposition.
Yes, so right, so you're literally seeing the
memento. It's the memento of marriage.
Yeah, it's sort of like the memento of marriage. Except not backwards, you just switch back and forth.
Let me ask you, since you're here, and we're going to turn this into This Week in Film for a second.
Oh, love it.
Why is The Hurt Locker not winning anything? Shouldn't that win Best Picture or Best Director or Best Actor?
My 2 favorite films this year were Inglourious Basterds and Hurt Locker. So I would be happy to see either of them win. I think Bigelow's still in the running for director, and she's won a lot of critics awards. There was, I want to say it was the LA critics. It swept. Where it was Hurt Locker Best Picture, Renner Best Actor, Bigelow
LA
Best
Film
Director.
Critics. Well, that's because LA Film Critics is actually film critics who understand film.
Right.
As opposed to Golden Globes giving the best picture to Avatar.
Well, I think,
which is absurd.
Part of it, Avatar was not the greatest film. It was a great spectacle, not the greatest film. But I think...
Great trailer for a movie. I mean, for a video game.
I think that when a movie becomes so popular, I think they want to acknowledge how popular, how big of a boost it gave the sort of industry. And I think that there's always a temptation to pick the juggernaut. I mean, I think the same thing happened in Titanic. Looking back, I wouldn't say Titanic was the best film of 1997.
No, but they gave Dances with Wolves the best picture over Goodfellas. I mean, it makes no sense.
No,
I don't understand the Academy.
There's tons of occasions like that where they gave like the obvious.
So who's going to win for best picture then?
I think it's going to be Avatar. I have to say. I think there's a chance Avatar will get best picture and Bigelow will get best director.
I saw Up in the Air last night. What do you think of that?
I did not like Up in the Air.
I felt it was a little bit. It was just a little bit too preachy about, oh my God, we're laying people off, and
it's also just so on the nose. I mean, every single conversation is like, life's better when you have company. It's like, I get it. I get that that's the theme you're going for. You don't have to really like kill me with it every single scene.
Well,
a little subtlety.
I think Jason Reitman is a deft filmmaker. Like, he makes a good film. I'm not saying it's the best story. He seems to do a good film that you can nod to and enjoy. Popcorn film. Thank You for Smoking and this one, both enjoyable films for the masses.
I think he's better. The material is so much for him. If he's starting off with great material, he can make a good film. I think Juno's a great example. Great script by Diablo Cody, fun movie. When the material's not so great or he's generating it himself, I'm not as into it.
Tyler, what's your pick for best picture?
I'm more concerned about best documentary, which is going to be The Cove. It got on the nomination.
I think The Cove has a very good chance of getting.
Looks like The Cove is going to win it.
And I know that you're spent some time living in Japan. Mm-hmm. This is a film about killing dolphins.
It's not so much. It is related to killing dolphins, but I don't want people to be turned off from watching because I think it's going to be.
It's not 2 hours of dolphin slaughter. No. That's what you're saying.
Right. But you seem to have an affinity for this film.
Yes. This film is incredible.
Going to his office, he's got 10 copies of the film.
He's become a major
I haven't seen him this passionate about something since the chai lattes at Starbucks.
Yeah, it's because it's about an issue that can be solved in Japan. Like, this could actually stop, as opposed to the rainforests and global warming and everything. This is this dolphin issue can be effectively solved very quickly if enough pressure is put in the right ways. Which I think, if it wins the best documentary film, it very well might help, and everyone who watches the film can actually get involved.
You know what you guys should do on Sunday?
Yeah,
you should do a live stream here during the Oscars.
Super Bowl, I mean, this Sunday.
I meant the Stupid Bowl.
Yeah.
You can do it during the Super Bowl too. You should sit in here.
Oh, you mean during the Oscar ceremony?
During the Oscar ceremony and during the Stupid Bowl, you should sit in here and talk about the Super Bowl commercials, live, just chatting with the audience. And you should do the Oscars and just chat. Or you should have Kevin Pollak sit in here and do a live Kevin Pollak riffing on the Oscars. That would be genius.
That's a good idea.
Because he did that on Twitter last year, and it was pretty funny.
It's always funny when people are sort of live. Comedians are like live tweeting while you're watching the show. That's always good.
All right, so there's a little 6-minute side venture. Scott, you're sitting here going, what the hell happened to the show?
I just want to see Crazy Heart. I've heard it's great.
I heard great things about Crazy Heart.
Yeah, Crazy Heart. It's a very small movie. It probably wouldn't have gotten a ton of attention without the acting awards, but it's great. Very, extremely realistic.
I hear Kurt Russell's amazing.
Jeff Bridges.
I know it's Jeff Bridges. I heard
the war scene's great.
50-something actor who's been unappreciated.
Kurt Russell needs a part like that, though.
No,
he's a great actor, and people don't really recognize it because he did so many like Tango and Cash type movies. He does have Overboard.
He should do Escape from Austin, Texas during South by Southwest. Are you going to South by Southwest? We're not going to that. All right, let's go to the news. We have a limited amount of time for the news, and this week in Android is starting at 3 o'clock, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Is it starting at 3 or 2:30?
It says 3.
Okay, good.
We give 2-hour slots here.
Got it. Okay.
Yes, let's go. First story, TechCrunch writer accepting bribes. A 17-year-old intern who was working for TechCrunch has been busted for asking for and taking bribes in exchange for posts on the popular tech blog. TechCrunch had declined to state the intern's name, but of course it was widely known and disseminated within moments of the post going up. Loic Lemure was quick to offer advice on Twitter, quote, "Go ahead and recognize everything that needs to be recognized and write a public apology as fast as possible. Don't wait, do it now." So the question is, one, do you think following that advice could really rehabilitate this guy's career? And also, a question I had, should TechCrunch name the companies that offered this kid or gave this kid bribes?
Okay. Small disclaimer, Mike Arrington and I are partners in the TechCrunch 50 conference. We've been friends for 4 or 5 years. This is a terrible situation. If you're a publisher, this is the worst situation you could ever have. This is the Jason Blair moment. It sucks. And it just shows how vulnerable as a publisher you are. One bad apple can do serious damage to a publication. And every story written about TechCrunch going forward, on an editorial basis, probably 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5 will mention this. Just like when people write about the New York Times on an editorial basis, that scandal comes up. Jason Blair comes up.
Yes.
So really, Daniel, he's a young kid. He's 17 or something like that. But he's not a kid anymore. When we met him, he was 15. Now he's 17. He's more like an adult than a kid, frankly. He obviously knew what he was doing was wrong. Extortion is a pretty serious thing. I mean, it's kind of deliberate when you think about it, like deliberately asking people, like, give me a MacBook Air, I will write about your thing. I mean,
yeah, it's way over the line.
Right.
If you read his apology, he says like, "Oh, I think I crossed the line." You're like, it's obvious that that's crossing the line.
So you asked the question: should they disclose what companies were involved in this? Yes.
That's what I thought when I was reading it.
What I texted with Mike Arrington today, just a little bit of support back and forth, like, hey, I know this is a tough time. Keep your chin up. My advice to him, of course, is to disclose everything. Open kimono. Sunlight will kill all of the ills. But for this kid, who I sent him a personal email, I told him that I'm very disappointed in him because I've known him for a couple of years. He's at the TechCrunch 50 conference every year. And I told him that the reason this is particularly bad for him is because the people who gave him his chance in life, Mike Arrington, Heather Hardy, and TechCrunch, and the fellow workers there, are the ones who are going to bear the brunt of this.
Yeah.
Not him. He'll be forgotten. He'll go on to his next gig or whatever. Probably won't be a journalist ever again. That's for sure. I mean, nobody's going to hire him to be a journalist ever again.
Yeah, I think that's pretty doubtful.
Although I guess people could do it for the sensationalistic part, but it's not even as sensationalistic as a Jason Blair, where somebody might use it as a freak show to have Jason Blair as a commentator on media ethics or something. So Mike, Heather, and all these people who are his co-workers, and they're going to have to then suffer because of what he did. And it's not a reflection of TechCrunch, who have great writers, MG, Robin, Eric, Jason. I mean, these guys all gals pour their hearts into that thing every day as a journalist, and it's just heartbreaking to then you get examined on the same lens as him, and everybody's going to be making jokes for the next 2 or 3 years. Oh my God, can I come by for a press tour? I'm going to bring a MacBook Air with me. It's going to be an ongoing joke, and this happens right after the CrunchPad lawsuit. It's like I feel bad when your friend has a string of bad luck.
Yeah.
But Mike's a strong guy, and he will get through it. But it's very bad.
At least he wasn't asking for one of those crunch pads. That would have.
He's demanding a crunch pad.
Well, that was sort of my joke about it. Was like I have a MacBook Air. I wouldn't even play Hulu without skipping. I don't think that this is if you're going to extort somebody, get a Tesla.
Yeah.
But no, I mean they immediately turned off all their posts, all of his posts, and I guess what they're probably doing right now is an investigation.
Yeah.
Did he get? Is it 2 paid posts? Which it seems like there's one they know he did, and there's one that.
Yeah, according to the TechCrunch
it seems like there's 2.
There's at least 2.
At least 2.
Because it says there's one that they caught him making this offer and hadn't received anything, and there's another one they know that he actually exchanged goods in order for a placement on TechCrunch.
So then, what is number 3, 4, 5, and 6? What is there? And that's probably what they're trying to figure out. Now, for the companies who did this, if a company of note did something like this, then it starts getting into like a whole nother level of scandal.
Well, then I think you really do. The public has a right to know what companies out there are buying
coverage.
Press. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So if you God forbid, it was, a top company was trying to buy coverage. Then it becomes like those scandals where in Germany they were doing. Some of the companies in Germany were doing I think it was some of the car companies. I can't remember. Somebody can Google it or Bing it. They were actually had bribes as part of their balance sheet, like they were bribing people in other countries for contracts. And then the German government was like, "What is this?" And they got in a lot of trouble. So anyway, it's terrible. Daniel, I'm a little bit concerned about because he clearly does not understand exactly why this is a problem. Because, like you said, I have his
blog.
His
DanielBrew.com, BRU.
Daniel Brew, and he says the line was crossed. I mean, it's just like it's this looks like President Clinton wrote it or something. You know, it's like.
I mean, when you say like I crossed the line,
it's like no, you extorted people.
It usually implies there's a gray area there. I went a little too far. I admit it. This is not it. This is very clear cut.
Right. I could have asked for an iPod Touch. That would have been okay. You know, like it's a pretty clear. It's a clear line.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to figure out is it criminal?
Extortion's criminal for sure.
Right.
I think if he had said, "I'm going to tank you on TechCrunch unless you buy me," that strikes me as almost assuredly illegal. If it's, give me a computer and I'll write something nice about you, it's definitely unethical. I don't know what the law.
Well, okay. Could TechCrunch sue him for damaging their brand?
They'd have to prove damages.
Well, that's pretty easy.
I think they could show that it definitely affected their.
Ask 100 people. Do you think less of TechCrunch because of this? 100 people raise their hand.
They have to have a line item numbers of here's how much we lost this ad account or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to prove damages. For that kind of thing, but
I bet they'd be able to show financial harm.
I think so. Yeah. But the other crazy thing is, in his post of apology, and this is what I sent to him in email. He's promoting his conference, Teens in Tech, which is tonight, I guess. So he's going to show his face tonight? And just it seems like...
Yeah, that's going to be...
It's kind of audacious.
It's very audacious. I noticed that too, that he links and he discusses, like, I'm still doing this thing tonight. And
he
February
should not
6th.
be doing it. And he's doing it at Google. And so Google is going to allow him to do this there? I mean, this is going to be a fiasco. Can you imagine? And look at all the sponsors of it.
They were a customer, apparently.
Yeah, no, but look at the sponsors. He's got Charles River Ventures, Google, EA, Intel. I mean,
Best Buy.
Best Buy, Spec. I mean, he's got all these incredible JBL. I mean, he's got all these incredible people sponsoring, and I mean, wait a second. Is this tomorrow?
The 6th, yeah.
Oh, so it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow night. Yeah.
And so, yeah, this is not a good situation.
It's the word. The timing is not great for him.
Well, that makes you wonder, was there something going on where the person who had this evidence or whatever did this to tank him right the day before this? But I, of course, I'm going to stay in my guy's corner and support him. And my only advice is just every piece of information you can put out there. And to Daniel's parents, if he's still, when you're 17, you're still...
Well, I was, but I also wasn't hosting tech conferences.
No, but when you're 17, you're not legally an adult. In California?
I think...
It's a question for the chat room to go look. Ask it on Mahalo Answers. But are you a legal adult at 17?
Like, I think so, actually.
I think 17 is.
I think 16 is...
So I was going to say, for his parents, this kid's got to go to therapy and talk about this thing. But I mean, as an adult, he needs to go to therapy and talk to some person who's qualified. I mean, I should have Mark Goulston talk to him and say, you got to work through this because you have some serious. This says, no, you're not 18, huh? So I mean, his parents and he have to go and talk this out with a therapist or a counselor or something. Why did you do this? What was your thinking? And go make amends with the people who you've wronged.
What's his way out of this? Like, what would you coach him? Like, what would you say to him?
What is the next move when you've done something like this?
Well, I'm not an expert on this stuff. I was a psychology undergraduate, but I do know that when you do something wrong, confessing and going through all the details with the person who you did wrong by, and hearing from them and subjecting yourself to hearing from them how they were hurt by your actions. I know that in Alcoholics Anonymous or in I've seen these drug rehab programs where they do that when they have, like some therapy to get people off drugs or whatever. People come in and say, this is how your drug abuse has affected the family.
Right, like in the intervention.
Like in an intervention. So he has to go and sit with Mike and Heather. At some point, if Heather and Mike will ever do it and forgive him, and he has to sit there and say, listen, this is what I did. This is what I was thinking at the time. This is why it's wrong. I realize that now. I am very sorry for the damage to cause you sincerely, and look them in the eyes and say, I'm really sorry. This is the worst thing I've ever done in my life, and if there's any way I can make up to it, to you, I would like to do that. And I know that there is no way I can make it up to you, but I just want to let you know that I want to try. Whatever way that is possible. And he needs to hear from them, either F you, I never want to see you again, or he has to hear from them, yes, I accept your apology, but it's critical for him to reconcile with those people. And he really, I'll tell you a story. When this was a seminal moment in one of the seminal moments in my life. I was 12 years old, 11 or 12 years old, and I used to sweep up my father's bar in the mornings on Saturday and Sunday. And this is in Brooklyn, and he had video games, arcade games in the place. I got addicted to playing Defender.
It's a good game.
And I took some quarters from the register. I played defender. I needed more quarters. I was in a defender frenzy. So I knew they kept like a bag with 25 rolls of quarters, you know, behind the ice machine or whatever. So I went in there and I took a quarter off each roll. That I kept playing the games.
That's a clever way to do it. You didn't take a whole
roll.
No,
of course. I was involved in all kinds of scams and everything else. But, so I knew how to do this kind of stuff. So it is a very serious story. And then I took a couple more, and then I called it a day. I get a call from my dad. I'm firing Billy Murphy. And I was at my grandparents' house because I used to do the porter. They called it porter work then, janitor. Yeah. My Irish grandfather and I used to go to church at 6 a.m. and then we go clean this place up at 7 a.m. And we do that Saturday and Sunday. Every Saturday and Sunday from the age of 9 years old to 15 years old, I did this at my dad's bar. And I'm at my grandparents'. Grandma's making me lunch at 11 o'clock. My dad calls, says, Billy Murphy was my favorite person. He's the bartender. Says, I got to fire Billy Murphy. I just wanted to let you know. I said, what? Why? And he said, firing Billy Murphy because he stole money from the bar. I said, really? And he said, yeah. Billy Murphy took quarters from the register and from all the quarters in the back thing. It's stealing. It's wrong. We're going to fire him. So I just want you to say goodbye to him. And I turned white. I felt this emptiness in my body, like the feeling you feel if you find out somebody's died that you loved or something, just this total emptiness. And I said, I did it. And I started crying. He goes, well, you have to go and apologize to him right now. My dad picked me up. He stopped what he was doing, picked me up, brought me to the restaurant at 1 o'clock. Billy Murphy came out, and I started hysterical crying. I took the quarters. Billy Murphy put his arm around me, took me around the corner. We sat on a bench. I sat there and cried for an hour. And he said, listen, it's okay. You made a mistake. I'm not being fired. Hey, my dad's going to fire you. I was like shaking. It was incredible. Yeah. And I never stole again. I knew that was so wrong and that there were ramifications of stealing. My dad, you could say that was the most torturous, craziest thing you could ever do to a kid, traumatizing. But you know what? That traumatized me in the right way.
Right.
It was, and I think that Daniel hasn't had that moment yet. He hasn't been taken to Billy Murphy to see the ramification of what he did. He could potentially take down TechCrunch with this behavior. Let's say this whole thing blows up into some huge scandal, it could destroy Mike's work over the last 5, 6, 7 years, whenever he's been doing this. I mean, huge ramifications. And I'm very concerned about this kid because if he goes to this thing tomorrow and he gets booed on stage or whatever, somebody, you know, God forbid, whatever happens, I mean, this is serious stuff. And he needs to talk to somebody about it, and he needs to be set straight, and that's how I would do it. I would put him in front of Mike Arrington and have Mike Arrington explain, like Billy Murphy did to me, like, I need, and Billy Murphy, adding to it, Billy Murphy said, I need to put my kids through school, I need to pay my rent, I can't afford to lose this job. If your dad fired me, I'd have to move out of my house. You know, he laid it on thick too. It was traumatizing, and I don't think. I mean, I'm visible. You can tell I'm visibly like remembering the story. It gets very emotional for me. Very serious situation. He needs to go sit with Mike Arrington in a closed room, maybe with another party there or not, and Heather, and have them talk about how much work they put into TechCrunch, and how much bullshit. You can bleep that out. 2 hours, 52 minutes. How much BS they're going to have to deal with because of this. I mean, this is going to seriously damage TechCrunch on a revenue basis.
Yeah.
This is not a joke.
No. I mean, I feel like he may have had that moment today, seeing the entire internet talking about what.
And I don't want to give him. I don't want to give him a hard time because you know what? I'm afraid the kid might hurt himself or something. And God forbid. I mean, when this hits him.
Yeah. 17 is young too. I mean, I think that's something you got to remember.
Like
he's been sort of thrust into this
the
very
limelight.
Adult world and this very professional environment. And I don't know if I don't think I would have done something like this. But at 17, I wasn't really ready to be like a professional. I'm barely ready now.
It's a very good point, and something people should recommend. Kids got to be kids. And, you know, I'm all big into entrepreneurship, and it's cool that, you know, we joke about kids, you know, going on to be entrepreneurs on this program. But, you know, he grew up a little too fast, and he got so much press and so much limelight.
I mean, for the time he was, what, 14, 15?
I met him. When was the first time we met him, Tyler? 3 or 4 years ago?
So, yeah, it was
3 years
14,
ago? Yeah. The whole thing is just very upsetting to me. Let's go to the next story.
Next story.
Unless anybody else has something to add to this. Tyler, has something?
No, not right. casts a shadow over, even the conference he's at. It's like, so the people that are participating in the conference, did he play any weird games? That's just who. You've opened up a whole can of worms on yourself.
I mean, it also affects me. I mean, TechCrunch 50 now, I'm going to get asked about this.
That was my point. It's like, so thankfully he's not like vetting the companies that come into TechCrunch 50. And maybe this year, he had developed enough at on their side where
somebody says I'm exaggerating here. I don't know.
I say I don't think you are, because as someone I don't have a relationship with Mike. I know him professionally and respect what he does, and TechCrunch is obviously a great publication. But my first thought was, who else is doing this?
Right.
Like, it's not fair. I mean, I'm not saying that there's any, but that's the first thing that's in my mind is like, okay, well, is this beyond this one kid?
Yep.
Is it broader than that? And that's completely unfair. I confess that it's completely unfair.
But that's what your mind naturally goes.
But I'm just saying, like,
Jason
it's
Blair
not,
comes out. The first thing you think of is who else is
lying
in the
paper. I would disagree that it's not being blown out of proportion, because that's not right.
I don't know. What do you guys think? So somebody here, Nick365, says he thinks Arrington should have dealt with this privately. It would have gotten out. It's not realistic to say that he should have done it privately. If he could have, I'm sure he would have. This happens every day. There's a cynic saying that, Mickey. And this person is saying, that's the first thing on my mind, and that's what will damage the TechCrunch brand, which, to your point, Scott. It is getting blown up because he is 17, of course. But no, actually, I think this would be worse if he was an adult.
Oh, I do too.
1,000 times
I think there
worse.
are a lot of people.
I
think there are a lot of people saying, well, he's a kid.
Yes.
He didn't understand. If this was a 30-something-year-old person, they would be far more rancorous.
And D. Ferris sums it up nicely. This kid needs to get off the bitch train and man up. We'll leave it at that.
There you go.
Next story, please.
Next story, Quedit. Quedit is a new payment service for online games that defiantly refuses to guarantee its payments. It's Kwedit. Here's the idea. Users who want credits on virtual goods, like, say, you're playing Farmville or something, you go to Quedit, you take out a loan, you're promising to pay back, like, I want $10 on Bejeweled, and then it records your loan that was taken, but there's no real penalty if you don't pay it back. You just ruin your virtual Quedit score, and you can't keep using the system.
Genius.
So the idea is a lot of people who can't spend money on casual games, they don't have a credit card, they'll start spending Quedit, and the company's also hoping that this helps you avoid online scams. If you get scammed, you didn't spend your own money, you spent some Quedit, so you lost some Quedit, but there you go.
So you can dispute it.
Right. Plus, they make it really easy to pay if you do decide to pay off your debts. You can go to any 7-Eleven and pay there, you can mail in a cash payment, and you can even, they call it passing the duck, email to your friends and say, hey, I took $5 of Quedit out, somebody help me, throw them $5, help me pay it back. So thoughts, and do you think people will actually pay them back?
Sure, some people will. Most won't, but nobody's going to use this to sell iPods. They're going to use it to sell virtual coin that has no money value anyway. And if you have to turn off your Bejeweled high scores and your Facebook account, that's a little bit of a bummer, so maybe you'll have some incentive to pay it back. So there is a certain amount of lockup when you have a virtual character or something. It's the Woofy Bank in some ways, which was a TechCrunch 50 company where they were saying, like, make a virtual currency based on reputation. What they're saying here is have a reputation system, I guess, in some ways.
Right. Well, so I mean, you will ruin your Quedit rating if you take out a lot of loans. And I think they have a set number where if you take out this amount of Quedit and you don't pay anything back, you just basically shut down your account.
So basically what they're doing is they're extending credit. They're giving loans with a limit. The limit of the loan, if it's $5 or $10, can't really hurt Zynga or Farmville. It can't hurt them. Well, so why not get people to try it?
The benefit to them is, all these people who would just not bother, well, I don't have a credit card, I can't buy anything here.
You're growing your market.
Yeah, I mean, at least if even 5% of them give it a try.
That's right. It's brilliant for that reason. It's getting the piece of the market that won't participate to participate.
Yeah.
And if they don't pay, they weren't part of your market anyway.
Yeah, I thought it was
so it's gravy.
Pretty ingenious idea.
It's pretty ingenious idea, although it's pretty stupid in some ways, but genius in another. But yeah.
Stupid in the best way possible.
It's like stupid in the best way, exactly. And it's...
I'm impressed you could say that over and over and not fumble your words.
Quedit? Yeah.
That was really impressive.
At least I don't have to say Quedit cards.
The crazy thing is they raised $3 million for this concept, but I guess they're going for the whole virtual currency play in general.
Yes.
Who put money in? Who's that?
I'm trying to pull up Crunchbase here.
I don't know if I put that in my... I didn't put that in my news.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny because now every time we go to talk about something, I think of a Daniel joke to make. You know, oh, put money in. Oh.
Yeah. If you send them a MacBook Air.
Yeah. It was True Ventures, which is a good company, and Kapoor and Fenwick and West, which is a law firm, and Endeavor.
Well, I think the idea is you can use it just as a sort of payment system. You can pay in a credit card, and you can use this just like PayPal. But
yeah, so that
this is like their hook.
This is their hook. Okay, next story.
Next story, Apple may be banning location-based ads. Apple has posted a warning to its iPhone app creators and developer forums, suggesting that they cease submitting apps that make use of user location just to target advertising. The notification reads, if you build your application with features based on a user's location, make sure these features provide beneficial information. If your app uses location-based information just to enable mobile advertisers to develop targeted ads based on a user's location, your app will be returned to you by the App Store review team for modification before it can be posted to the App Store. So is this an example of Apple actually looking out for their customers, ensuring apps only ask your location if they are going to help you, or is there some other kind of hidden agenda, an attempt to control how you use their platform?
Bing, bing, bing.
Yeah, what do you think, Scott?
I think it's got to be the latter.
Yeah, what's the downside? What's the downside to? I would rather get apps that were. If they told me every ad on your iPhone is automatically geo-targeted, I'd say fine. Who cares? I don't think it's a privacy thing because they don't know.
Right.
I'm not going to click on it anyway.
Well, you're on the app and the little message comes up like, do you want, this app wants to access your location.
Yeah.
You think you're going to get some sort of benefit out of that as opposed to just we're going to target advertising more effectively.
If they're giving you better targeted advertising, they can give you a better application for free. So I'm all for them making better targeted ads as long as they don't screw around with my privacy.
I agree,
Yeah, and I can always opt out of it by turning location services off in the main menu or by not allowing it in the first place. So I think this is Apple is going to regulate their ad network, and they are going to charge a carry fee for people who put ads. So they could block AdMob technically, I think, according to their terms of service. Like they could say any ads running through our system have to pay this amount per 1,000 or use our system. So they can put a tax on it, just like Facebook is going to put a tax on Zynga and other people doing games soon, and they're going to have Facebook credits. Yep, it's coming.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Next story.
Yeah. It's 3 p.m. We got one more story.
We'll talk about Facebook. Yesterday was the 6th birthday of Facebook. To celebrate
6th birthday since they launched or became open to the public?
I believe it's since they became open to beyond Harvard, maybe?
Yeah,
That's
I think so.
amazing. It really is.
They're calling it their 6th birthday.
Okay.
Which would be,
so somebody in the chat room, check if the 6-year anniversary means the 6 years since it was launched at Harvard for like just.edu.
04, so I think that's when it launched.
That's probably right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems like it's just it was launch, like when it went online. The Facebook back then.
The Facebook.
And to celebrate, the site has launched a long-awaited redesign. 80 million of its 400 million users can see it currently, or as of the time I wrote this news. The most notable change is the inclusion of notifications prominently at the top of your page, which has already been part of the iPhone app for a while. Search has also been improved. You're going to see people's names come up based on how closely related they are to you. So they're in your network, if they're friends of people in your network, and so forth. Founder Mark Zuckerberg has also promised the company will be developing new features at a faster pace, promising something cool once a month from this point forward. TechCrunch is already guessing that this may be a new featured webmail product.
That's a no-brainer. I mean, MySpace did that, yeah.
Right. So what do you think of the new redesign, if you've seen it already, and do you think they can live up to a promise of once a month something cool?
They can easily innovate once a month. They can easily steal something from Twitter once a month.
Right.
The question is, can Twitter keep producing something interesting and worthy of Facebook stealing every month? I mean, Zuckerberg has become the Borg. They just take everybody else's good idea and steal it. They have a lot of cash now. They've got momentum. They've got 400 million users or something like that. And so, yeah, they'll steal something every day, I think. The question is, when are they going to do something innovative of their own again? That's my question. The last innovative thing he did was the app platform. And what's innovative since then? Everything else since then is stolen from Twitter or another service. And all their redesigns have to do with trying to beat out Twitter. I don't really see a lot of original behavior out of that company anymore. And that would concern me because you can steal your way to a certain level, but I don't think you can get to permanent success just on that alone. So I don't know. I'm not a fan right now.
Right. And do you think, is this going to help them move past the privacy settings fiasco? Is that dying down? Are people still upset about that?
Still plenty of lawsuits going on about it from what I understand. But general public doesn't care about privacy until it gets compromised.
It just seems like that hasn't really taken off beyond the sort of tech industry people who actually
in general, privacy
know about this
is a soft issue, like pollution in some ways, that people don't care about until people start reporting, like, oh my God, autism rates are through the roof, or breast cancer rates are through the roof, and then all of a sudden everybody cares about pollution. But there were people watching pollution in Long Island, or autism rates all over the place, and it's when something manifests itself that's close to home for people. And what will have to happen is, I think, sadly, it's they're going to have to give away people's information somehow and compromise it in order for people to care. Like people started caring about search data when AOL released it.
Right.
And then it became like a front and center issue. What do you think? What do you think of Facebook in general?
I'm a fan.
As a social network.
No, I think it's the leader, and I think despite Twitter's great advancements, I still think the user base, the broad platform, all the various things and features and tools, and frankly the pace of innovation, they've done a great job. I think a phenomenal job of product development.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just in terms of efficiency and getting things out. I know people have had disappointments and concerns about it's always changing. I can never find anything, but in general, I think they're going to be very successful.
Yeah, it's hard to bet against them with that many users, and it's hard to bet against PowerVPS. PowerVPS, you like that segue?
Dynamite.
I love the segue.
Dynamite.
That's my favorite part about doing the commercials. PowerVPS. Oh yes, PowerVPS. PowerVPS provides fully managed virtual private server hosting with great customer service and an amazing price, starting as low as $59 a month. PowerVPS.com. Twist viewers get 25% off the life of their plan with discount code TWIST. So 25% for life off from our good friends at PowerVPS. And guess what? The new This Week In website being hosted at PowerVPS. So we are using it. Yes. And it's supposed to be very easy to set up and use. And wow, what great prices. And they've been great to the Twist audience, producing this fine program and supporting it for a long time now with their two products, DNA Mail and PowerVPS. We'll select the winners of the shirt this afternoon.
Were these the Tyler
you saw them, right?
shirts? Yes, I got a preview. Amazing.
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 All right. Give us one final news story.
Well, actually, to tie into the privacy thing, I have another one. The FBI wants ISPs to record lists of websites their customers have visited and to retain this information for at least 2 years. The idea is that these browser and web histories could help in making cases against child pornographers and other criminal activity online. The idea is also supported by a variety of state computer crime investigators, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. So do you think most people are willing to give up some of their privacy in order to help catch child pornographers and other sort of felons? And do you trust ISPs and the government to keep this information secure and protected?
The government will screw this up. ISPs will screw this up. Any information that is saved like this will be compromised.
It gets out.
All information will be
compromised.
Gets
out
always. And there's reports that the reason the whole Chinese government was able, or Chinese government, the Chinese hack, whoever it was.
Individuals in China who may or may not have been supported by the government.
Exactly. Whatever that Chinese hack was, they got in supposedly through a back door put in by the government or at the request of the government into Gmail. So the irony of it is that our security got compromised because we compromised American security by putting in this back door, if that is in fact true. It's a terrible idea, and Americans are slowly seeing all of their rights get taken away. It will all be abused, and it will end in something like V for Vendetta or 1984. We're turning into a police state. It's unnecessary because the people who are true criminals are not going to, they're going to use encryption or a Tor server or any number of things that they'll tunnel across the ISP, and all the ISP is going to see is just tunneling to some other offshore account. So basically, everybody's got to give up their privacy and freedom. And then the people who are the true criminals are not going to get caught because they're too smart.
Just libraries and universities are where all these people
that.
are
I mean, I could just pull up outside your house with my laptop, get on free Wi-Fi, or I can buy a free cell phone card to do that, or I can go to a library or a cafe, or I can just use simple IP masking software through any of these anonymous services and be fine. What should really happen is people should start releasing products that anonymize users, so that good users should start anonymizing their activity so that these things just get forgotten about. People don't do it. In Europe, they would never allow this to happen. And we've got to take it more seriously as Americans. And, you know, as scary as it is for, you know, things like 9/11 to happen, or this dumbass who almost blew up a plane with his underwear and
he
wound
didn't
up
really even get close
torching
to
his,
it was pretty
torched
pathetic.
his balls or whatever he did.
Yes.
Makes my life miserable through the security lines now.
It's unbelievable. So now we all have to suffer because this idiot doesn't know how to set off a bomb, or you know, puts a bomb on the thing, and everybody's on. It's just ridiculous. If somebody's going to, there's 300 people on a plane or 200 people on a plane, you could kill 200 people very easily. There's a million ways to do it if you got your mindset on it. That's not going to stop it. No amount of $8 an hour, $10 an hour TSA people making us strip down to our loincloths is going to save us from an Al-Qaeda or radical Muslim maniac who wants to get on a bus with a bomb. And it's the same thing with this stuff. No amount of watchdogging will catch these guys. It's ridiculous. I don't have an opinion on it though. I don't feel too strongly about it. It is ridiculous.
It is. It's a little ridiculous. And I mean, just I think that more than terrorism, this one they were saying was aimed at child porn, which you would think there's a million ways to sort of.
Oh, if they want to catch child pornographers, that's
doesn't require them
easy.
saving my browsing history.
Have you ever seen Law and Order? It's very easy to catch child pornographers. I mean, it's like a Law and Order episode of Special Victims Unit every season with that.
Weeks, yeah.
And it's basically like somebody goes into a chat room and they're like, "Who wants to have kid?" And then like it's like 80 people show up at like a basement apartment and they all get arrested. It's like the same thing every time.
Really just hire Ice-T and he'll take care of all
No,
of
they
it.
should hire the guy from To Catch a Predator. And they'll catch as many pedophiles as they want. Who's that guy? Smith? Who's that guy?
What is the guy?
I'm Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen is the kid to catch.
If they want to catch child pornographers, just get Chris Hansen. That guy, he walks down the street, the 5 of them follow him.
To be fair, I think they're already caught when he's gone. The staff catches him, and then he just sits across the table like, "What are you doing here? Why are you here?"
I love that.
It's a great show.
I could watch that forever. Only because of the reactions of... I mean, it's very sad, obviously, don't get me wrong. I don't mean to make light of a situation, but the level of stupidity in criminals is just unbelievable.
Well, I like that it's deny, 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 and then they reach that moment where they realize I am genuinely busted, and then the apology begins. Like,
and then they try to explain
2 minutes of like, I'm going to be the first guy to get away with this.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It is ridiculous, and... yeah, I mean, it's so easy. They don't need to compromise the entire country's privacy to catch a predator.
It's true.
Chris Hansen does it every week. Did you hear about the one guy on Chris Hansen's show who killed himself?
Yes. Well, they did that South Park about it afterwards.
Oh, they did a South Park on it?
Yeah, you didn't see the South Park with Chris Hansen? Oh, it's genius.
Oh my God, I haven't seen that.
Why don't you take a seat right down here? They got him.
They nailed him.
They got him beautifully.
This is the crazy story, though. We talk about these kamikaze things. I don't know the details of it, but I will summarize it as such. Somebody can correct me in the chat room. But Chris Hansen busts a guy. He runs out, or something like that. He went to McDonald's or something.
Yeah, it was later on that evening.
Well, I guess they busted him, interviewed him.
Yeah.
Then he went home and killed himself, and then they sued Dateline or NBC. Is it NBC, Dateline?
Yeah, it's Dateline, NBC. Well, it's his own show now, I think, but it started on Dateline, NBC.
Yeah, so anyway. And I think they got sued and I think they settled. I don't know. Scott, thanks for being here. Yeah. Congratulations on the big acquisition of Style Hive.
Thank you.
Curate Media. And on Twitter.
Series C, I don't think we even talked about that. And we closed to Series C.
Oh, you closed Series C. So you got more money.
Got more money, yeah.
Money's good. Yep. Blah, blah, blah. Everybody's got, all these companies are raising money. That's not a big deal. I think the Style Hive thing is a bigger deal. You doubled your traffic footprint, which is big. You got all that knowledge and stuff like that. We look forward to hearing about Curate Media.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Scott Simcoe, who is the super fan who blogs, will be checking in with you from time to time to find out what's going on with ThisNext.
Okay.
You all get to read the blogs. We're trying to do a thing here where we combine the podcast with a fan blogger in between the shows. So if you're a fan of the show This Week in Startups, go to thisweekinstartups.com and read the posts in between. That's what we're trying to do, is to give you something, a little bit of candy in between the shows.
Yeah, it's really interesting because he goes back through all the people we've talked to on the show and like gives you little quickie updates.
Little Geek Stack update or whatever. Maroon Door guy from last week. Remember the Maroon Door guy? He can't stop emailing me. All right, let me just give a little disclaimer to people who are on the show. If you're on the show, I'd love to help you. The show is here to help you. But I don't work for you after you've been on the show. I can't introduce you to Mark Cuban or Elon Musk. I can't take you on a tour of Silicon Valley. I can't tell Mike Arrington to blog about your company, insert joke here. It's ridiculous. he emailed me like 17 times. I'm like, it's very cool. I hope Maroon Door does a huge job. But as I told him on email, when I got the 7th email, you have to do this, not me. That's what entrepreneurship is about, making it happen. The entrepreneurs who get it done are the ones who actually do it. Every journey has a first step. The most difficult one is that first step. By watching the show, you've taken the first step. Disconnect from the matrix, start a company, join a company. We'll see you next time on This Week in Startups. Thanks, Tyler.
Spiked out, I could trip a referee. Tell by my attitude that I most definitely from.